So you're thinking of moving to Denton, Texas. So aside from the artsy vibe and the great food scene, what's it really like to live in downtown Denton, Texas? Well, stick around to the end of this video and I'll talk about some hidden gems that you definitely don't want to miss. If this is your first time to my channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living in Denton, Texas, then subscribe and hit that bell for notifications so that you can be the first to know everything about the current market conditions here in Denton. Hey y'all, I'm Autumn Walker and I get calls and texts from people every day, just like you, wanting to know what it's like to live in Denton, and if they need help, they reach out to me. So whether you're moving in 9 days or even 9 months, feel free to reach out because I would be so happy to help you make that easy transition to living in Denton, Texas. All right, guys, today we are going to talk about the pros and cons of living in downtown Denton, Texas. So a lot of people are like, okay, where is Denton? So Denton is like the north part of the triangle that makes Fort Worth, Dallas, and Denton is at the very top of that triangle. So it's north right off of I-35. But today we're going to be talking about living within maybe a 1 mile radius or so of downtown Denton. And what really makes up downtown Denton is the square between Elm and Locust Street and then Hickory and Oak Street. So on the map here, you've got, Hickory here, Locust, Oak, and Elm. So this is actually what makes up downtown. And right at the center of it is going to be the historic courthouse. All right, so according to the World Population Review website, Denton's 2025 population is just over 168,000 people, and it's currently growing at a rate of 3.5% annually. So that means it has increased over 20% since the most recent census update in 2020. And most people that are moving here are from California. So in 2023, over 94,000 people moved here from California. Up next is Florida. So in 2023, about 51,000 people moved from Florida. And then you've got Louisiana, Oklahoma, and New York are all kind of tied for third place of people that are moving here to Texas. All right, so let's talk about a little bit of the market update before we get into it. So I kept a really, really tight radius to be very close knit to that square that makes up downtown Denton. So within a 1 mile radius, the single family homes in that area, the average cumulative days on market in January of this year, 2025, was about 59. And days to sell in January also was about 59. In February, it was only 16. I don't know what happened there. The close to list price ratio in February was about 94%. So people are getting really close to their asking price when they're selling in this area. Months of inventory in January was only 4. There was a much higher inventory in February, closer to 10. And the number of sales in January was 4. And the number of sales in February was only 2. But the average close price in January was $372,500. And the closed median price in February was $216,500. And I've got a graphic here that can show you more clearly if you are a visual person like me. Number of new listings in January, again, we're talking about just a really tight area. So our data set is pretty small, but within that 1 mile radius and only single family homes, number of new listings in January was 6. And in February, it was 7. So for such a small area, those don't sound like huge numbers, but it actually is quite a few if you're thinking about a 1 mile radius of an area to choose from. So that's great. The average sales price in January was $314,817. And in February, it was $302,571. Okay, so let's get into it. Downtown Denton isn't just a square of some cute shops. It's more of a lifestyle. So it's home to 2 universities. So you've got University of North Texas and Texas Women's University, which kind of breathes in a steady stream of creatives, different musicians, entrepreneurs, young professionals. So it's definitely like a vibe. So I'll be real with you. One of my favorite things is when I'm walking around the square and I happen upon a street artist that's performing jazz right outside of my favorite coffee house. And it's just a really fun thing to happen upon. So that leads me to pro number one, which is just the vibrant music and art scene. Downtown Denton lives and breathes creativity, from mural covered walls to a live jazz band, like I said, maybe a street performer doing spoken word, or someone just performing on the courthouse lawn. It just feels like a huge open air gallery. And let's not forget, just definitely don't sleep on the Denton Arts and Jazz Festival. I feel like the entire city turns out for that, and it's so fun. People come from all over Texas just for the Denton Arts and Jazz Festival. Now, pro number two, I think it's that it's super walkable. Not many places in Texas are very walkable, but Downtown Denton definitely deviates from the norm in that way. Downtown Denton definitely breaks the mold when it comes to walkability. You don't need a car if you live downtown. Everything is within a few blocks. You've got boutiques, restaurants, bars, shops. You've got yoga studios. There's a climbing gym. There's also theater. So bookstores, record stores, like you've got everything that you need right there. You could live in, one of those historic homes right off of Oak Street and still be able to walk to your favorite coffee shop or bar or restaurant. I really, really love that I could run some errands, meet a client, and grab tacos all within a 10-minute walk from each other. All right. Pro number three, it's got college town vibes, but without that crazy South Beach chaos spring break vibe. With two universities, University of North Texas and Texas Women's University, which is not just for women, by the way. Downtown Denton is super diverse. You'll find young professionals, entrepreneurs, and all types of creatives just mixed in all right together. So it's just a constant stream of new ideas, fresh businesses, that sort of thing, without the frat party kind of vibe, though. I feel like downtown is super grounded. Pro number four, it's pet friendly and eco-conscious. I feel like Denton really cares about the environment and cares also about your furry friends. A lot of people don't know this, but Denton has one of the largest community gardens in the nation. So if that tells you anything about eco-friendly and sustainability right there, when you're walking around downtown, you're going to find composting stations, bike racks, watering bowls for your furry friends outside of bars or coffee shops. So some places even host a yappy hour. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but some places where you can just bring your dog and just chill out and have a beer. Even some apartment buildings are getting into this eco-friendly vibe with maybe a green space on the rooftop or something like that too. Pro number five, foodie paradise. Okay, I'm married to a foodie, so I get it. This is really where Denton punches above its weight because you've got places like Kichi, which is a super exclusive sushi place. And then you've got the rooftop vibe of LSA Burger. And then there's plenty of vegan options, Mediterranean options. Of course, yes, there are food trucks as well. So unlike some other small towns where it's just chain restaurant after chain restaurant, Denton really shines because they really support their local food entrepreneurs. And it's one of the reasons that a lot of people come here and stay here. Okay, so not every city is perfect. I get it. So why don't we talk a little bit about the cons? Con number one, I know that you don't need a car to get around downtown, but you need a car probably to get to downtown. And parking can be a little bit of a struggle bus. So downtown is charming, but you might have to be prepared to circle around for 15, 20, 30 minutes, depending on if it's a weekend or not, what time of day it is. So the city does maintain a handful of free lots, but they fill up super fast. So like I said, be willing to maybe circle around a little while before you find a spot, especially if there's a local event or if UNT is playing or whatnot. So definitely know that you've been warned. Con number two is the rising cost of housing, which kind of is everywhere, right? But especially in downtown area, Denton used to be one of DFW's best kept secrets, but I feel like the secret is out. And people are catching on, right? So home values have definitely jumped significantly in the past 10 years. So in February of 2015, the median closed price was around $94,000. In February of this year, 2025, the median closed price was $216,500. So let's take a look at that so February of 2015, our median closed price was $94,845. And then of this year, it's definitely, can you imagine the median closed price being under $100,000? Now it's $216,500, which definitely isn't terrible, especially when you compare it to Dallas or Frisco, but it for sure is rising. If you're investing, if you're buying now, then you're investing. But if you're waiting on the sidelines, then those prices might outpace you. All right, downtown con number 3, it's really noisy. So living in the square can be amazing until it's midnight on a Saturday and you're trying to sleep and there's still a band playing across the street from you. So you're definitely going to hear music, people laughing, talking, street noise, all of that sort of thing. So it's great for those nightlife lovers or even just those night owl type of people. But if you're a super early riser, maybe not so great. So just depends on maybe what your preference is. All right. Con number 4 is you've got really charming homes, but you've got some old infrastructure. So a lot of these homes can come with their own quirks, squeaky floors, super outdated plumbing, old electrical, but drafty windows, that sort of thing. A lot of them have been updated, but maybe not fully. So that's something to be aware of. If you're looking for more of a plug and play house to move into, you may have to look a little deeper, a little longer, or maybe just buy a lot, raise the structure that's on it and build completely brand new. That's always an option. So just look out for those things like outdated electrical if you're shopping around downtown. But I've got a list of vendors if you ever need help with that. So don't worry, I got you. All right. And finally, I think one of the last cons is that it's a transient population. Because of that college vibe and influence, you may find that you have new neighbors like every semester, which could be good or bad, depending on how good of neighbors they were. But if you're even near several short-term rentals, that also could be something that happens. You get new people in the area all the time. So, which those short-term rentals are a lot more popular downtown and near the universities. So this can be maybe a pro or con depending on, your lifestyle. If you like meeting fresh new people all the time, that could be great. But if you like the consistency of community and, building that rapport with the same person, maybe not so much of a pro. Maybe it's definitely a con for you. So I guess it depends on your preference again. So why don't we recap? So downtown Denton is super diverse and it's great for creatives, college grads, or anyone who really wants to live in what's called Little Austin without paying the Austin prices. You're getting walkability and culture. You're getting local local businesses that you can support, but you're maybe going to be paying a higher price, dealing with the noise and the parking and maybe some older homes. But anyway, now for that hidden gem that I promised. Every second Saturday of the month, there's a community market. It's right behind the courthouse, and it's a great place to meet locals. You got local artists, local farmers, live performances. So a lot of people visiting maybe haven't even heard of it. So definitely check it out if you're in town on a second Saturday of the month. All right. Thanks so much for visiting my channel. If Denton sounds like your vibe and your kind of place to live, feel free to reach out. I would love to help you make that transition to moving to Denton. Or if you've got questions, definitely reach out. All my info is in the description. And if you are already local and you have something to add, drop a comment. Let me know. And again, don't forget to subscribe and like, and hopefully I'll see you next time on my channel, Living in Denton, or hopefully even better, I will see you around town. All right, guys, take care.